Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, y'all? Happy Friday. Uh, it's a rainy Friday, and it's a beautiful one. If you're anywhere where there is still snow, you know what I mean. Finally, I can see the green of the lawn, and the streets are not piled with igloos all around, like lined with igloos, piles of snow. No more parking wars. Although, like I said, my place has been pretty considerate, but I've seen otherwise in other places. So finally, at least where I am, the rain and the milder temperatures, which who would have thought 30 plus, well, more like 35 plus, 40 plus would be like a freaking oasis here, like a freaking solstice here. But I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. Like the roads are so much clearer. And yeah, I don't have to always garb up and gear up with my snow boots and all that just to get to the car. So it's the little things. It's the little things. But anyway, today is indeed Friday. Oh, it's 1:44 on the clock. Come through, Spirit. It is February 20th. I didn't realize that's even kind of a portal, isn't it? 220, which is about a 22. But of course, it's 2026, which is a 10. We take all confirmations of alignment and closure to cycles that we can get in this season as we're embarking on this. We're more or less at the threshold of a cosmic new year, So happy Pisces season. I didn't say that yesterday, which was, I believe, the first day. The 18th was the first day, so 2 days ago. Yeah. Oh no, I think it was the 19th. I can't remember now. Usually it's the 18th or the 19th. I can't remember. Yeah, it was the 18th. So happy Pisces season. I have an affinity for Pisces signs. My moon is in the 12th house. My Libra moon is in the 12th house. So I don't know. I've had Pisces best friends. So I understand and I synergize with that sign very, very much. One may say I even love it to a large degree. So anyway, happy birthday to you. Thank you for that strong energy of manifestation by way of projection, by way of belief, solidifying our faiths, even for the things that are unseen, and believing for sometimes even the supernatural or the extraordinary. We need that frequency in our lives, especially in the world that we live in today. All right, so without further ado, let me cut it one more time and let's just get into it, shall we? See what the message is today. Ooh, strength in the struggle. Confidence, power. I'm going to take it up right because I kind of knocked it in the struggle. We'll see what comes out next. This strong will. Again, confidence, determination, power, courage. Yeah, let's see what else. What about the strength? Let's get a card on that. Strong boundaries against opposition, against objections, like, okay, let me get one more and I'll say my piece. Like a fortress that's built around someone's self-esteem, particular their confidence, their personal security, where It doesn't really matter what happens, what's said, what's projected, um, what is speculated, what actions may be taken, even perhaps personal attacks are no match for someone that is standing firm in their strength. It's like there's nothing you haven't seen in the strength at the strength level. You know, you've kind of been there, done that, seen it all, heard it all, and it puts you in a position where you're not so vulnerable or easily infected or affected by external stimuli or influences. Although they try, although they, energies are giving it their best shot right now. Like, they really are. But I'm getting to someone is like unwavering in their faith and unwavering in their courage, no matter who's stepping up against them. You know, because we know that's a woman and a lion. Yes, okay, there's the self-esteem right there, which has been coming up a lot. Unwavering. You've seen too much. You've been through too much. You've overcome too much. I'm getting like you've seen, and I'm getting chills, like you've seen too much evidence for why you trust yourself, why you feel secure in whatever foundation you have laid out for yourself, whether that's internal. Of course, it's internal first more than anything, but it could be a fortified security with where you live, or with the choices that you've made or the choices that you're making, the way you feel, again, about yourself, and the fulfillment that you're experiencing right now in this present moment without any particular eagerness or anxiety about anything else, just really being present with where you are and how you are right now. And it seems to be a good place, seems to be a good place. Let's move on. My phone is lighting up at 150. Okay, the Five of Swords. Yeah, there, like I said, there's the energy. No matter what may be standing in opposition, projective thoughts, again, even internally, where things may try to flare up in you to be overly thoughtful about where you are. Am I okay? Is this enough? Am I validated in my confidence? And sometimes, especially walking by faith, you don't have a lot of physical or material evidence for your sense of security. That's kind of the whole spiel. Substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. So you don't have a lot of confirmation in some ways for why you feel so stable at this point. As a matter of fact, you could be surrounded by opposition or by contrary circumstances. You could be facing a challenge. There could be anything going on, but it's still like the Five of Swords again is defeated. It's no match for someone that has fortified themselves in faith and made that their stronghold. If there is any stronghold, that would be for sure the one to, like, enemies gotta route out. They have no place here. They're not welcome here. Or they're either watching you move on in a way where there's no there's no recourse of retaliation or attack, although they would want to. Although they are poised to, positioned to, there's like energies that are finding a hard point of vulnerability, or like that point of, I was trying to find this word last time, like a defenselessness. I gotta find this word. Let me see, because it's gonna bother me yet again. When you're vulnerable to attack, a word for that, please. That didn't really give me what I want. A word when exposed, defenseless, susceptible. Okay, so exposed is, I guess, is good. Accessible, yeah. So there's a lack of, that's not on here, but I'm thinking out loud, like that's a lack of accessibility, uncovered, unprotected. Vulnerable is definitely here. And maybe it is, those forces, or insecurity could even be the case here, that oppositional forces, however they may materialize or expel themselves, whether it be a word, an intention, again, an energy, a vibe, an actual action, is looking for a place to, like a sensitive place that would be so it's definitely about insecurities here, a place of insecurity where it can kind of like poke at that wound, like perhaps even poking around, or probing for old unhealed insecurities, which, unbeknownst to them, are not quite as sensitive as they used to be, like as raw, as they used to be. As a matter of fact, like I said, it's Nine of Cups. There's been a great deal of closure that has been cultivated on account of personal insecurities, where even when the inflection of such may arise within you, you know exactly how to walk it back, and not in a graceful way at that, not in an aggressive way, but to walk it back and to realign yourself with your self-love and grace and acceptance. Again, self-sustainable esteem that can't be substituted outside of you. So it's really hard for it to be infringed upon or even attacked outside of you. It's like I said, the stronghold here is faith, where you've seen too many examples time and time again as to why you should feel exactly the way that you feel about yourself, why you should feel so secure, why you should feel strong. You've overcome a lot, why you should feel bold and courageous. Whom shall you fear, at this point? So it's like enemies, especially of the human capacity, which have their own flaws, are no match for someone that is grounded in that regard. And certainly, projections, particularly of any illusions or inflated ideals, are not, they may cause bring cause for pause and consideration, perhaps even enough to draw your defenses or to raise your defenses, to remind yourself what is real and what is true for you. But it doesn't have a place to stay, and that's the most important part. That's the most important part, that it has to be on its way, because it finds no satisfaction and contentment where you are. That's such a blessing. Let me get one more as if I need to. I don't think I do. Yeah, but look at that. Oh, shoot. Nine of swords. Yeah. It's no, I'm not even going to pull on that anymore. I'm going to move on. Page of Pentacles, like trying to add its 2 cents, but it's too little too late. You know, I'm going to take one more. Why not? It's too little too late for those energies. Like they've done as much as they can possibly do. It's like you're looking forward to your future without distraction, or without falling victim to distraction, and they're having to like find another victim, or it's having to find another host. You know what I mean? It's not welcome where you are. It doesn't have a place to settle in and get comfortable. It's like having thoughts of insecurities when you know better, by way of experience, by way of, you know what I mean? It's like, even if it stirs up in you, it's like, hold up, you didn't been here before. You've been at this place before. Exactly, how things can turn around, or what you're capable of to overcome, or to succeed, or whatever, to surmount, whatever opposition or challenge may arise. So why get scared now? This is it. This is the moment. So where, yeah, Queen of Cups, come on through. Too much self-love, dedication, and care at this point has been invested. And I was going to say, with this Three of Wands, it's like these energies, what they want to do is to steal your hope and faith with great expectations, like that fuel of great expectations for the absolute best case scenario to materialize. Like, there's thieves of joy out here that want to intercept that contentment, intercept that peace wherever they can. Honestly, like I said, at any vulnerable space, hoping that by God, not really by God, but by chance, I'll say, that they just might be able to poke at the thing, that 201 on the clock, that will derail your sense of self, your sense of security, and maybe provoke you to be impulsive, maybe even to self-sabotage, or be reckless, or to regress into some type of state of survival. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is a pampered princess. If by no, ooh, baby, and it landed up right. Oof. Okay. And no demotion to her title as a queen, but I'm using pampered princess to reflect, how taken care of she is, because she takes care of herself. She don't need nobody else's love and appreciation if she can produce that within her own vessel and within her own creative space. But here it is, the Wheel of Fortune is like, but we got you, boo. The universe, the divine, saying, but we got you, boo, especially for the ways that you have stayed the course and maintained your posture of peace and focus on what? That Ace of Cups, which is the ultimate fulfillment, inside out, regardless of all the many distractions and intrusions. Someone still staying firm on what they know to be true for them is highly rewardable, according to the divine ordinances. It's a fated karmic return in the highest frequency here. Consider who it's attached to, which is the Queen of Cups, the most loving soul of all of the court cards. You know, she's receptive and projective of love, compassionate, kind, graceful, generous, particularly by way of love, but also seasoned enough to know how to be conservative, because that is a part of the gift of love as well, knowing exactly who and what to share your most precious energy with and who not to, and being unapologetic about that as well. Because for those that, and for things and places and people that it truly is reserved for, there is a precedence of what's the word, like a value or priority that's assigned to be, you know, whole and fulfilled enough to be emotionally available for those worthy exchanges, if that makes sense. So, to whom much is given, much is required, and also an equal, if not in this case supersized, return and reward for your dedication. Yep. It's like you could have never loved yourself too much, with consideration to that love being conserved for divine purposes. You know, like not just splurged and thrown away frivolously or just for the sake of being nice. You know, that there's been deep consideration about how you share yourself and how you express yourself, and connect, and who, what, and where you connect yourself, because you believe that it's important. You know, that having a really deep reverence for that sacred energy that you carry enough, you know, to protect it. That's valuable to the divine, when you have enough sense and will and discernment to protect yourself and not be so dependent on some other force to do it for you. Open to it and grateful for it, you know, for sure. Because we know that force protects us from things seen and unseen. Those obstinate forces that we had no idea may have been lurking on the sidelines, waiting for a moment to strike, or things that were lying dormant within us that, you know, we had no clue how detrimental or dangerous they could be. And it's like the divine reinforced you with a great deal of courage and confidence ahead of all the many things that you've incurred, to the point where when you face those different obstacles or oppositions, you didn't even realize that you had the strength within you to do so. Yet another gift. Wheel of Fortune. Something it's like your love is really paying off. It's paying off big time. Just for those that have been intentional to be generators of love, because here's the thing, because of our conditioning, we feel like, you know, love has to be an overtly expressive action, but it's just as valuable as an intention, you know, first and foremost, and as a devotion to oneself first and foremost, because when you cultivate that level of commitment within yourself, it puts a new value on what that on it puts a new it assigns a new value to that exchange, or that substance or frequency outside of yourself. Like, you appreciate it so much more. Mm-hmm. And it's the generators of love that have just been standing firm on their devotion to love in the most pure frequency, giving and receiving, reserving, conserving, and expelling or expending, that have ultimately held the space for destiny to unfold, even when all of this energy was running amok, trying to shut it down at every turn, trying to attack the progression of love, the advancement of love, the acceleration, the ascension of love as an overarching consciousness. A lot of pushback on that, but it was always destined to be so. And for those of us that have been grounding that frequency through our own energy signatures by way of our daily choices, the seemingly simple ones, to just not allow yourself to be influenced by things that are contrary to your pure consciousness, that are obstinate to your grace. You were doing God's work. You've been doing creation great service, because somebody had to do it, and everybody isn't willing. Maybe able, but everybody is not willing. It's not for the faint of heart. Ooh, Queen of Swords, confirmation. And doing so objectively. How it's like, it seems like almost a contradictory frequency to have the Queen of Swords, but it goes back into that focus and that devotion, unwavering devotion. Part of me to know, to be selective. That's what it is, selective and objective about what you're carrying, Yeah, I love this. Oh, comfortable. I don't even want to go no more. What? Oh my gosh. What's coming in on account of this divine favor for your fortitude? It's so brilliant that what I'm getting, like, this blinding effect, like, we know the sun is one of the most, characteristically the most positive card in the deck, but I'm getting this blinding effect of, and it's not very sunny. It's not sunny at all today, actually. It's rainy and cloudy, which, like I said, we love it. We're thankful. But it's something about this sun that I'm getting this either the effect that is so bright, like I'm hearing your future is so bright, you gotta wear shades. You don't even see how magnificent the return and reward on your personal investments are about to be. And I feel like the divine wants it that way so that you can be pleasantly surprised and astounded. That's what it is. It's an astounding return and reward for your efforts, where many were just doing what they do perhaps for survival. Like, your faith was like a survival mechanism in many ways. If you're anything like me, it sure was, when all you had was faith. To believe, like back to that Pisces energy, to believe that something more must be in store, and all you had to do was have more faith for more faith, you know. And of course, there's a transition out of that, where it's no longer about having more faith for more faith or faith for more faith. It's like really now, being receptive of what that faith has afforded you in real time and in material form. You know, like this with the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, like that's speaking to something that is astounding, that's miraculous, that is life bringing, joy inducing. You know, it's not anything that you're, you know, going to be, it's not anything anticlimactic. You know, it's like something that you're going to be quite pleased about. And the comparison from the energies in the human form in the cards depicted to, you know, it's like the Nine of Cups. He's just happy where he is, and you know, if he can get that 10, so be it. You know what I mean? That would be great. But and it's fun. It's contentment where in the presence and with your presence. The Wheel of Fortune, the Sun card, it feels like an overly amplified, like a super size, supernatural, highly exalted, which makes sense as to why it was highly sought after, but highly exalted return or harvest, yeah, for your sowing. Again, as you were that what did I call it? Generator of love, of peace, of um spiritual, I don't know, spiritual something. Spiritual, I guess spiritual devotion and dedication. And that's and it was in a way, because there aren't any pentacles here. It's cups primarily, and some swords, but the cups and the wands, you know. But for the most part, where it pertains to this energy that I'm speaking of, in alignment for reception, it was about your spirit, the spirit of your nature, not so much the carnal aspect of it. It was the inflections of the spirit, which are hard to secure, hard to sustain, and in some ways hard to understand, even by yourself or of yourself. And it was the faith and diligence and devotion to investing in those qualities above all else that has pleased the divine, so it seems, because that's okay. Because that generator of frequency by way of the cups, which is water, is where the divine could could plant those seeds for the evolution of creation to blossom from. It was like little greenhouses, you know what I mean, by way of energies that were intentional about their frequency of love. That's where the seeds could grow. That's where the seeds could be germinated and properly nourished. Where else would you know? I'm getting the parable about I'll definitely screw it up if I tried to really regurgitate. But the parable about, you know, the seeds that are scattered in the different terrains. Jesus was given this parable to the folks to distinguish like how people receive the word of God, which ultimately is a source or a resource of hope, right? And an expression of love from creator to creation. but depending on that terrain, is what is considerate of, it determines how the seed survives, how it's planted, and how it germinates. And of course, there's like the seeds that fall onto like gravel or rocks or whatever, and they're not planted on anything fundamental for growth. And birds come and pluck those up before they even get a chance. And then there's man, I should probably look it up. Let me look it up real quick. All right, we got time. I've been looking up everything else, right? Parable. I don't know if this is too significant, but I'm going. Oh, is that it? Parable of the Sower? Oh no, that's the Octavia. That's Octavia Butler's novel, which I've never read, and I should. I know it's like a classic, must read. So maybe that's a little note for me. Parable about seeds. Where is it now? Yeah, went right to it. It's Matthew 13, but I see also Mark 4, Luke 8. Oh, shoot. It just gives me it highlights that the kingdom grows on its own by God's power, independent of human effort. So it's like, well, that's one interpretation of it. Oh wait, is that even it? Hold on. Describes a sower planting seeds on 4 types of soil: path, rocky ground, thorns, and good soil, representing how different hearts, this is it, how different hearts receive the word of the kingdom. Yeah. It teaches that only prepared hearts, good soil, produce a fruitful harvest. Interpreted as Jesus. The seed represents the word of God or the message of the kingdom. Yeah. The path is a hard heart. The message is heard but immediately snatched away by the devil. Rocky ground is a shallow heart. The message is received with joy, but lack of root causes quick abandonment when trouble comes. Thorns, crowned heart. The message is heard, but worries, riches, and pleasures of life choke it out. And then good soil is a receptive heart. This is really good. The message is heard, understood, and held fast, resulting in a productive, mature, and enduring life. Yeah, wow. So that was the one that I was talking about. And that one, I think that was Matthew 13, if I'm not mistaken. Because they got a couple scripture there. But you know how yes, Matthew 13. You know how those those books, the good news books can be like they have different versions of stories, and some of the different, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, like sometimes they have different versions of the same story. But anyway, so yeah, so those that have been, that's exactly what's being exemplified here. Those that have been receptive hearts of the word as it's been 2:22 on the clock as I'm saying this, that have been receptive to the word as it's been transmitted to them and through them. It's not, I'm not going to sit here and limit this to just the Bible as the exclusive word of God, because we know that there was much more word that's spoken outside of that didn't even make it into the good book. And we know that the divine is speaking every day, so it's just how you receive that word, how you interpret that word, especially amidst all the distractions, because at one point in time you could have, and maybe that's the strength card, have gone through all those different stages of receptivity or lack thereof, where at one time you might have been a hardened heart because of your experiences. May have been shallow because you were distracted by the ambitions of this your external world and the projections of what that should be. You know, you might have been a crowded heart. I say crowned heart. Your heart might have been crowded because of, you know, life's worries, and there it is, the Five of Swords energy, you know, all types of things that would want to pretty much steal your joy. But through all of that processing, through all of those stages of maturation and love, and perhaps rededication with your spirit, you know, to your spirit, devoting time and energy and attention and nourishment to cultivating your spirit man, so that you could be the best receptor of truth ultimately that you can be, and then generate and almost, you know, project that energy. Like when you're generating that energy, that means everything in this. Think about like a generator of power. What I really see it as is like heat generating. You know, that love becomes like a heat source. The sun. Thank you, Lord. So us being generators of the sun. Take that however you will, you know, but that force of light and vitality contained in what seems to be generated in what seems to be a very contained, or less maybe compact vessel, unsuspecting vessel in many ways, has made all the difference for the divine to continue to grow its agenda, its kingdom agenda, even like almost under the nose, perhaps, of oppositional forces. And this goes back to what I was saying yesterday about that co-creative covenant between spirit and man, you know, the divine and humanity, that's being reestablished and fortified, maybe even being revamped in a way, you know what I mean? So it may seem to be, for what we've always known it to be, which is some subservient, submissive dynamic. But what I've been suggesting for a long time now, is that it's far more cooperative, and even procreative than that. You know, that, as I said in the last message, that the divine needs creation. And don't get offended by need, because take it as you will. If you're offended by that, then you need a little bit more love for yourself to be able to see yourself the way the divine was, if that feels blasphemous to you. And that's exactly the point of this rededication and re-establishment of covenant, because it's been distorted by our conditionings, faulty conditionings at that. And these oppositional forces that continue to, here it is, challenge our sense of confidence in that reality, in that position, in that presence. You know, like, how dare you believe that you're so precious to the divine, you're so valuable, that you're anything more than just an empty vessel used as a slave or a pawn. Like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. And so, like I said, the divine needs creation to express itself through, and creation needs divine to be an expression of. We inspire each other, because divine gives us that higher aspect of presence to aspire to, when all this is what we have to look around at. It gives you something else to ascend your mind and your intention toward. That's amazing. I really don't want to go any further, but I'm going to. I'm just get 3 more cards. Should I? Let me see. Because, I mean, we really could wrap it up here. What's more than the freaking sun and the Wheel of Fortune? I can't get no higher. more amazing. Yeah, like the end of struggle. Ooh, I love it. This the end of the sabotaging season, where you can no longer be sabotaged by the adversity within you or outside of you. This is the defeat of their Five of Swords, because this is what the reestablishment of that covenant. The reconnection, the affirming of that covenant. Like almost, I feel, what is that? It is an evolution, because even the Wheel of Fortune suggests that there is an evolution between spirit and man. And what is that? What is, not advancement, but when something is enhanced, maybe improved, refined, minus the blurred lines, minus the ambiguity. It's almost like face to face with the divine, like righteous reciprocity in a way. And it's happening by way of our human relationships for sure. So that is not, you know what I mean? Like that's like the materialization of it, where you get to see, hopefully, partnership being reflected to you exactly the way that you are, and therefore it being, a direct reciprocation of what you deserve, because it's what you've been given. And for many, that would be quite amazing to experience, for those that have been used to cultivating that frequency of love all by themselves, for themselves, and not, kind of like weaning yourself off of the dependency to receive that exchange from the outside in. And it's like I said in another message, it's like not being dependent on that external exchange, but at the same time also being quite endeared by receiving it. It's that much sweeter because you don't need it. You're not pressed about it. In a practical sense, if you had to, be single and self-sufficient the rest of your life, you might be content with that. You may have created a life for yourself where, it's of no consequence to have someone or to not. It would be nice, or I should say to not have someone, if it means that you would have to forfeit, what you have going for you. But to have someone that's actually, meeting you on the same page, that shares your sense of your sensibility, that is emotionally and intimately available, willing and able. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the magnificence of the gift materializing in a way that your human senses can actually process, because we're carnal beings. But it's because you've found your contentment before that, and even despite the absence of that in many ways. And now it's like over, you don't have to be defensive or, oh, thank you, God, I hear this so clear, thank you. You don't have to be defensive. It's one thing to be discerning, but you don't have to be defensive about energies that have poor intentions. First of all, you'll pick it up right away. You'll sense it. Pardon me, because like I say, you've been there, done that, and seen it all, or seen enough, let's say. And also, you have the support of the divine as that source of protection for seen and unseen. And then, your energy signature is such that, like I said, it won't even allow for shady characters to be able to get comfortable very long. Very practical, simple. You could have you could be dating or consider, in consideration of a particular partnership. Could even be friendship, or professional partnership, whatever it is, where you have all the best intentions for it to be progressive and a co-creative, even procreative process, that yields a great return and result. And if that other side, or that extended offer really doesn't, at some point in time, living in a frequency such as this, where the divine clearly don't play about you with the wheel of fortune and the sun, and is making it very clear, like spotlight, this is my child in whom I am well pleased type energy, is not going to be, it's like darkness wouldn't be able to survive in that frequency of light for very long. It would either tell on itself, sabotage itself, see its way out, because it just wouldn't find any value in their, by way of their original intention, and or best case scenario, be transformed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all a win-win as far as you're concerned. Let me just get one more and then I'm gonna close it out. This is really good energy. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I felt like it was just stuck in the side. That was the World card. Yep, and I'm gonna take it. That's the World card. That's the World card. And that's how it's supposed to be. I'm taking it. You got a problem with it? Take that up with the divine. Yep, that's it. Reestablished covenant is the new world order. A consciousness of love, which then what? Inspires that frequency of creativity. So it begins to reshape the landscape of our world, materially, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, relationally, like every way, shape, and form. That those seeds were being incubated by you with your sheer intention to be a vessel of love and light in this world, no matter what the circumstances. And now the harvest is springing forth, soon to be in full bloom, right before your very eyes, before you can even realize what's happening. That's what I'm saying. Completely taking the world by storm is this frequency of love and devotion to divinity and self, if nothing else, which ultimately is going to really make the ops the odd man out. It'll either have to go create its own little space, its own little habitat somewhere safe, or, like I said, be transformed. And that's the best case scenario that I'm in prayer for. Indeed. It's the end and the beginning right here. All right. Queen of Wands, King of Cups. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So here's the counterpart to the Queen, which is beautiful. And then we got the Queen of Wands. It's like, this is the empowering force of that Queen of Cups energy. Like, it's the force fuel now. It's the synergy. It's like the reigning synergy of creation. Divinely appointed. Passion. Again, that expression of confidence and courage as well. And love. And I love that it's showing itself in the masculine form, because that signifies a proactive intention for compassion and kindness and grace and just all of those things that the Queen of Cups can receive and project. But it's like emphasis on the projection aspect, the intention, the like love almost as an aggressive, ooh, come through. Love as an aggressive, with these two energies, an aggressive expression in the earth. We ain't never seen a world like that. Not in our lifetime. It's quite contrary right now. But that's the reason for the heightened aggression of the adversary to this frequency. However it projects itself, whether it's through vessels, through circumstances, all of that, it's because once this takes hold, like I said, there's no room for anything else. Once you reach that place of security and who you are, how you are, what you do, how you love, what you expect, what you are willing to receive, create, what you're capable, of creating, all of that creativity of love and opportunities to express more love, like love begotten love. What did I say? Like, yeah, like an aggressive expression of love. I love that. I love that. That's where we are. That's what the divine is spotlighting, elevating, and exalting at this time. So if this is where you at, this what you into, you're in good hands. Yep. You're on the right path, you're in the right place, and your presence is very much so appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Oh, keep love alive, y'all. I know it gets bleak out there sometimes, but keep love alive. It's the ultimate. It's the only key to your ultimate happiness. Happiness. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.